Ukrainian bots blamed for mass Twitter suspension of accounts criticizing Zelensky's visit to Congress. Okay, let's try this again. I've recorded this once and come to find out I had the microphone off, and so let's try this again. But um, this is crazy that they would even invite this guy to Congress to speak and beg for money, and then you have Harris and you have Pelosi in the background holding another country's flag in Congress. I think is a law against that. How do you host someone else's flag in the people's house? That makes no sense. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store where I will not comply t-shirts. So check those cool t-shirts out. All right, let's talk about this news. Zelensky brought his flag and his ask for cash and weapons to Congress during the primetime hours on Wednesday night, much to the fawning of American legislatures. Even though I think most Americans are tired of giving our money to other countries, in particular countries like Ukraine that has Nazis and fund Nazism, even though they try to pretend like none of this stuff is happening. But we have all the receipts and the proof that there are Nazis in the Ukrainian military, which is ridiculous, and we're giving them billions of dollars. In response, many who are critical of the massive expenditure to Ukraine and the U.S. involvement in a war against Russia at all took to Twitter to express their disdain. They were banned, and many speculated that it was bots who were to blame. Many accounts shared a photo of the two most powerful women in American politics, Vice President Kamala Harris and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who are second and third in line for presidency, respectively, hoisting high the flag of Ukraine in the U.S. Congress while Zelensky spoke to that body, which is utterly ridiculous. Think about it. So where do their alliances really lie? It doesn't lie with the American people. They show us this every day, that they really don't care about you. All they care about is filling their pockets and funding their own causes that are in other countries. Most Americans do not want war. We do not want to fund this war. It's none of our business. Most of us want to stay out of it. But they continue to push this, and not only are they pushing this war, but they're spending our tax dollars on it. Dozens of accounts were summarily banned after criticizing the visit. Zelensky, the U.S. involvement in Ukraine, and the horrifying vision of the Ukrainian flag being raised in Congress. And think about the disrespect. He didn't even have the common decency to put on a suit like our Congress do. Put on a suit. He's wearing all green, trying to look tough. Like, yeah, I'm this military guy, but please give me your money so I can fund weapons and fund my Nazism that's going on. And then they all say, well, how can he be a Nazi? But he's Jewish himself. That doesn't matter. I mean, look at George Soros. George Soros was Jewish, and he still was snatching up and grabbing his own people, and he's unrepentant about it. So what does that mean? I mean, black people kill blacks, white people kill whites. It doesn't matter just because they're a part of that. That doesn't mean they doesn't fund interest that's not really that's against their interests. Look what's going on in America here. So that doesn't mean anything. We got all the receipts to prove that there are Nazis in the Ukraine military. We got all the pictures and photos and all that stuff. But Zelensky was treated to cheers, a standing ovation, and multiple rounds of applause. The flag being raised above Congress added insult to injury of Zelensky asking for cash, in addition to his stating outright that no matter what the U.S. was giving him, it would not be enough. Quote, I'm now getting reports of tons of accounts that were locked out of tweets that were taken down for posting images of Zelensky's speech last night and being critical of him. Seems to be a mass takedown campaign by Twitter, Jack Posobiec reported. This after prominent account ALX was suspended pending deletion of his tweet criticizing Ukraine, Pelosi, and Harris. So now not only do we have our own country, our own intelligence community, our own government censoring your speech, but now we have other countries coming in and censoring our speech and telling us what we can and can't talk about. This is ridiculous. Elon Musk replied to Posobic's post about ALX, saying that he was looking into it as the quote tweet doesn't violate term of service. Posobic offered quote update could be a mass reporting situation by trolls or state actors. The idea is that the tweets critical of Zelensky could have been the target of a mass reporting campaign with the intention of silencing anti-Zelensky sentiment on the platform. Former Trump administration official who served in the State Department and the Department of Defense, William Wolf, said he was, quote, back after an entirely arbitrary and unfounded suspension. He had tweeted out the photo of Harris and Pelosi, as well as saying, quote, when we say clown world, this is what we mean. For that tweet, he was slapped with a 12-hour ban. Now, clown world is a kind of a double entendre, because clown because it's the ridiculousness of it, and clown because technically Zelensky is a clown. He was a comedian, so he kind of was a clown. You know what I'm saying? And he got suspended for that. The Columbia Bugle simply tweeted the photo with quote bring a check next time, and that caught a ban. I mean, just nonsense. The report from Twitter said the ban was for, quote, violating our rules against posting or sharing privately produced, distributed, intimate media of someone without their express consent. But of course, the image was a screenshot from the live broadcast of Zelensky's speech and Congress shilling for Zelensky that was broadcast across many channels. Quote, combat veteran bow-tied ranger was locked out of his account after mass false reports were filed against him by a bot army triggered by his comments critical of Zelensky and the $100 billion looting of tax dollars by Republicans in Congress, Mike Cernovich reported. He tells me it may have been a reverse image search mass report campaign, Posobic reported, and given that all these bans were for the image, it appears that this is the case. Quote, this picture makes me want Russia to win, account had tweeted. And it's understandable. We're tired of the propaganda. We're tired of our government coming and telling us we're going to take the money that instead of taking y'all tax dollars and fixing inflation, and fixing the recession that we're in, and possibly going into a depression, I believe. Instead of fixing all of that stuff, we're going to take all your money and we're going to give it to this country that really we're not even really allies with, that we propped up. Christian Ruby, who reported on internal workings at Twitter amid the Twitter file drop, said that, quote, the answer is the ML, that's machine learning. Based on data, the tweet does violate Twitter's former political misinfo policy redetention param list. If those parameters are not gutted or retrained, this will keep happening. The algorithm is doing exactly what it was trained to do. So I'm hoping Elon fixed this. The image, however, was not in the least bit private, but one readily available to anyone watching the humiliating live stream of Zelensky demanding more and more support from Congress, and Congress giving the foreign leader whatever he asked for, which is, again, utterly ridiculous. But let me know what you think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.